welcome to Eat, Move, Be Healthy. In today's episode, I'm looking at areas to focus on with regards to essential diet and exercise in the 50 plus years, that sort of age group and stage in your life. So if we look at what's typically going on in your 50 plus years, what's really working for you here is you have typically have time and money on your side. So all the big expenses of a new home, the cost of your kids starting school, that generally has sort of settled. You moved into a place now where you kind of know what your monthly expenses are, no big surprises anymore. Career-wise, you're either in a management role or you know where you're headed over the next 10, 12, 15 years. So everything's a little bit more clear on where your demands on your time are going. So you typically have time and money, which means you're able to invest in yourself, like personal training or nutritionist or seeing some sort of healthcare professional. You also have the ability to then go on holiday and really take time out for yourself. So those things are working in your favor. What typically is working against you at this stage with regards to health and fitness, and what is one of the bigger obstacles, is that you've probably accumulated injuries or chronic illnesses or ongoing niggles that sort of hold you back. So typically this age group are either working around a ongoing back problem, or my knee's never been right since that rugby injury in my 20s, or there's thyroid conditions which affect your energy levels, perhaps even diabetes, these sort of conditions. So exercise isn't now just as easy as getting up and going to do it. You've got to take into account, I can't do that because I find that hurts my back. So you typically find there's some sort of thing which now narrows your choice about what type of exercise or what you do. And it should just do that, narrow your choice, not stop you from doing exercise. I've yet to meet a doctor who advises against any type of exercise. Clearly you'd have to choose something that's more suited to you, but you shouldn't stop exercise altogether. The other thing that's often a concern at this age group is for men, you're often around this age group already on some sort of medication, either for blood pressure or statins. So that could be something that you're needing to manage as well. And certainly when it comes to diet, that can be worked on. And women, certainly by the age of 50, you're either already menopausal or potentially perimenopausal, so going through it. So that can really have an effect on your mood and energy levels. In the previous series on my podcast and YouTube channel, I did a whole series on menopause and exercising and diet around that. So do have a look and listen to that. So don't let menopause hold you back from keeping exercising and being healthy. Don't let any of these distractions, male or female, hold you back. There's just ways that you can work around it, and in the end, you're better off doing something. Maintaining some sort of exercise. It will only improve your symptoms. So the areas to focus on with regards to exercise would be here, and from now on in, is to focus on flexibility. Flexibility is your key to maintaining independence, particularly in the later years. I work with clients who, my youngest currently is 14, my oldest is 89. And with both those ends of the spectrum, a big part of our session is flexibility and movement. For the 89-year-old, that's all we focus on, a bit of mobility and flexibility, because if you can't move, if you can't put your own shoes and socks on, if you can't turn to reverse, if you don't have any movement or flexibility in the system, it severely limits your independence, and ultimately that's what you want to maintain. The degree of your intensity of your exercise really depends on what you're trying to achieve, what your actual health, your fitness goals are. If you're training for a marathon, then great, you can still run and do all of that. If you're just wanting to, like my 89-year-old client, he still lives on his own at home. He really just wants to get around and get on every day, pain and ache free, and be able to do his gardening. So we do enough to maintain that. So the level of intensity, there's no, at any age group really, but particularly in this age group, 50 plus years, you only need to work on the intensity for the intensity that you need. Having said that though, most people aren't necessarily entering runs or going for long walks and things like that. So don't let that actually be the decider. You should still be getting out there 3-4 times a week and being active. And you can include that anywhere and everywhere. So walking the dog, actually attending sports or activity sessions. Golf becomes a big sport in these year groups because it's certainly in the later years, because it's not so physically taxing, but you're outside for a good few hours. You're getting long walks in. The 50-year-olds that I'm training are super young and fit. We're doing frequently entering runs, triathlons, cycling weekends. So it's absolute degrees here. All of it is possible. You just need to work with your body way more now than you did when you were 20s, where you could just get up and go, this is what I want to do today. You've just got to take into account what's going on for you. The yoga and Pilates become very important here, particularly for maintaining flexibility and tone. Walking, I just love walking at any age group because you can do that any day. You know, you don't have to have been training for weeks on end to go for 2 or 3K walk, or even just a little walk around the block. Most people can do it without thinking much about it. So that I'm quite a big fan of the walking, going on long walks, walk through the woods, and it does great for your stress levels. What I've often found is at this stage, because women have gone through their 30s and 40s where their own exercise has taken a bit of a backseat because of the kids, that they're now getting back into exercise in their 50s. And so quite often what's missing here is confidence, because they haven't done anything since they were in their late 20s, early 30s. So like before, don't think it's not possible. Just take it, it'll work yourself up to that, rather than just suddenly going out running for a marathon. But don't write that off to you just because you're older. Should by no means be excluded from that. Sports are a good thing to do in your 50s because there's a social element too. So group cycling, cycling weekends, cycling holidays, walks, groups in walks. I've got a client in her 70s, who has joined a club doing walking netball. So it's netball, but it's walking instead of running. So anything is possible nowadays. There's all manner and range of exercise. So there's no excuse. Diet-wise, in your 50 plus years, you're going to be focusing on eating wholesome food, as always, varied wholesome food. What I noticed with this age group is the alcohol consumption goes up. Dehydration levels go up, so not consuming enough water, drinking too much alcohol, and generally not eating too badly because typically you can afford it and you can afford to eat well. But that's areas to focus on, you need to eat well to focus on keeping your cholesterol down, managing your risk to cardiovascular disease. So that's why reducing the alcohol can help, increasing fiber, whole grains, fish, just reducing the red meat here and there, perhaps having the odd vegetarian meal every so often. You can even start including multivitamins here, fish oils, vitamin D, particularly for the woman, maintaining watching out for osteoporosis. So your eating all becomes around managing your health now and keeping inflammatory conditions low. So, and that you do by eating wholesome, whole grain foods, and just eating properly, really just eating well, eating properly, and exercising. Subscribe below for more information on how to eat, move, and be healthy. And if you're in your 50 plus years and even latter years and have some exciting way that you manage to keep fit or get exercising, do leave a comment below.